And I was wrong for a couple of reasons. One, we did not end up going to the gym today because the weather was such that he couldn't make it back into town. So, which is not really that big of a deal because I stayed at fair too long yesterday. The temperature finally broke enough that I could go out there. And this is the Halloween weekend is the weekend she asked me to come out anyway. And I was like, done. So, and like I said, the weather was cool enough. But we had a really bad storm come through on Friday. Friday night. Well, actually at 3:00 in the morning on Saturday, which meant I had no power. Which was interesting because my mother had bought me one of those little batteries. When I say little, no, this thing's like 2 feet by 2 feet by 2 feet. You know, it's big. Yeah. And, we had it charged up, maybe not all the way, but, you know, charged up so that when we got up in the morning, I have all these wonderful little LED lights that are USB charged, which I'm grateful that I have now, because we use those and then we plug the refrigerator into the battery so that we didn't have to worry about how often we were in and out of the refrigerator in the process of, you know, the morning. So it was really interesting. The good news is though, that the power came back on before Tom left for work. So cause that's what I told him. I said, just plug the refrigerator in, but leave it where I can get to the plug if I need to plug it back in the battery when I get home. I didn't. And then, the storm came back through, another storm came through last night, really dropping our temperature. So it's going to be a gorgeous day. But fortunately it was not as intense and didn't take our power out. So it's been an interesting morning. Now, the other thing is I got up and I had a recipe for gluten scones and I was too tired to do it last night. So I'm doing it this morning. So, the scones are currently in the fridge chilling and I, am doing this and then I will go and get them in the oven. And while they're in the oven, I'm going to go and deal with this because, you know, I brought Fair home with me in my hair, I'm sure. Although I didn't leave the booth, so who knows? I went to the bathroom. That's it. I didn't get very far away. All right. So we are doing, we are currently in, hang on. Housekeeping. Creative Life Spiritual Center. Website's creativelife.org. Constant contact email, info@creativelife.org. If you sign up for that email, it gets you one email a week, unless something unusual happens. Most of the time I say hurricanes, but that wasn't even a hurricane. That was just a really bad storm. So that kind of stuff. And it's a blind CC, which means nobody will see your email. You won't end up on anybody else's email list because of us. So please, you know, feel free because it tells you what's going on for the week and the month and the hot links are hot. If it says click here now, it means it. Okay. The social media, we are on most of the platforms. And so what we ask you to do, because we don't monetize them, we don't want to deal with the ads anymore than you do. We ask you to go like, subscribe, share, or like, subscribe, follow based on which platform, and then interact with the individual posts. So react to the post, comment on the post, share the post. Bumps us in the algorithms. More people see our stuff. It's a free and easy way you can support the center. That's the goal. All right. Yeah. The more you guys interact with the pages, the more the algorithms go, oh, people like this. Maybe more people should see it. Yeah. Otherwise, you know, you have to pay for it. That's just, well, all right. So Your Spiritual Power is a collection of Ernest Holmes' works. Now, the one we are doing in particular is Discover a Richer Life. And that is apparently a collection of his articles from the Science of Mind magazine. It appears that there are several of those out there. And so that it will be something that I will be looking into because now I'm curious. And that may be what more of these are. I don't know. But that's what this is. It's collections of stuff that you may not find anywhere else. It's been really interesting so far. So like I said, we are doing Discover a Richer Life. We've done philosophy. We've done religion. Today we are doing science. Yep. Okay. All right. So science, something to use. Science is an exact and systematic statement or classification of knowledge concerning some subject or group of subjects. It is the knowledge of facts, laws, and proximate causes, gained and verified by exact observation and correct thinking. The result of scientific knowledge, expressed in terms of law, gives us the ability to do something with a definite, predictable result. Because we have so many systems and classifications of knowledge, we have many sciences, such as physics, chemistry, botany, biology, physiology, psychology. In general, we may speak of the classified knowledge of any subject as a science. Okay. The way he describes science, a predictable result. The laws of science are universal. Hang on, I just combined two words. The laws of science are universal, applicable by anyone at any time and any place. Scientific laws, insofar as they are understood, are neutral, responding impersonally to anyone, and appear to have no self-determination. Neither could we say that the science of electricity belongs to an Edison, nor the science of mathematics belongs to an Einstein, nor any science belongs to anyone. And that's one of the things about science. Let me look up so that you don't think I'm reading. One of the things about science is science undergoes rigorous testing. It's like once I figure something else out, then I publish it, and then other people try and replicate it. And if they can replicate it, then my work goes into the body of laws. But if they can't replicate it, then they come back to me and go, no, we can't replicate this. And so then I have to go back and look at what I did and figure out, not necessarily what I did wrong, but why it didn't work for them. You know, did they not do it exactly the same way I did? Or, so there's a lot to science, but it's one of those things that's peer reviewed. And if it's not peer reviewed, it's not science. So the increased knowledge of any science is some knowledge of universal principles which existed in their potential possibilities prior to their discovery by humanity. The laws of nature are her secrets unlocked by the investigating mind, which, through the intelligent understanding of humanity, are useful when properly applied and harmful when not rightly used. It's like gravity existed long before the apple fell on Newton's head. It's just when the apple fell, well, it didn't actually fall on his head, it fell next to him. But when Newton noticed the apple falling, then Newton went, hey, wait a minute, there's something to this, and discovered the law of gravity. He didn't discover the law of gravity. He just noticed the law of gravity that's been working the whole time. Okay? And that's just the way science works. It is now believed by many scientific minds that the material sciences can converge into one great synthesis, which may be called the science of being. That a greater inclusion will tend to unify and coordinate all truths into one great system of reality, from which the religious viewpoint may be termed the universal as a spiritual system, one spirit moving into many expressions. While viewing the universe as a spiritual system, one need not deny the material universe, for the material universe and the laws which govern are part of the vast system and are necessary to it. That might be what we call quantum physics. Science and religion still do this weird dance, and it's not necessarily science's fault. I would definitely say far more of the blame goes on religion than science, but because quantum physics is so, and I'm going to use the word weird in its original meaning, that's where religion is kind of sneaking in to, I'm not even going to say religion, spirituality. Spirituality is sneaking into science because things happen in quantum physics that they cannot explain. And one of the ways to explain it is the observer. So, all right. The very word universal implies that the universe cannot be divided against itself. If the discovery of a new law contradicts the established fact of an older ascertained law, either the facts of the old law are false or the facts of the new law are false. That's what I'm talking about right there. If we can't replicate it, then we got to figure out who's wrong. Either the original information is wrong, or more likely the original information is not complete. So I hate to say that they're wrong. It's just the information wasn't complete. We didn't know enough. We couldn't, and most of the time that's what it is. We couldn't dig deep enough because we didn't have either the technology or, the knowledge. The science is constantly changing because we're learning new things. We're constantly learning new things. Like, if you see the pie chart of what we know and what we think we know and what we know we don't know, they're tiny little slivers. And then the rest of the pie chart is all the stuff we don't know that we don't know. I mean, there's a whole lot about everything. We just don't know. We're still learning. And when we remember that we are still learning, that's where magic happens. That is absolutely where magic happens. Okay, hang on. And that's why people get all up in arms about science lying to. No, science didn't lie to them. Science just learned something new. So, okay, the universe is so constituted that one law cannot contradict another. However, this does not mean that one law cannot transcend another. There is a law which says that everything heavier than air will fall to the ground, but by the application of the law of aerodynamics, that which is heavier than air may ascend. These two laws do not contradict each other. Each is part of a unified whole. Okay, so I want that about transcending. Same thing with, ships in the ocean. You put an iron bar in water and it'll sink, and yet iron ships sail across the ocean. That's about water displacement and water tension, surface tension. Yeah. Okay. When we approach the study of the science of mind in its practical application, we are not denying material or physical laws. We are simply introducing the use of a higher law. The law that the higher form of intelligence governs the lower, but all is part of a unified whole. Okay. The law that a higher form of intelligence governs the lower, but it is still part of the unified whole. Okay. The laws of psychology or metaphysics cannot neutralize or wipe out the laws of physics, nor is there any science of mind which could do away with the physiological or psychological views of our own being. As an example, let us consider the act of prayer and faith in its relation to physical healing. Many people have been healed of physical diseases through prayer and faith. The denial of this fact would be an admission of one's ignorance of such events. And there's numerous books published on that now. So, you know what? If the universe is an undivided system containing, as it does, many laws, and containing, as it must, many gradations of intelligence, then it follows that when through the act of prayer and faith one is healed of some physical disability, this healing is accomplished not through the suspension of any physical law, but through the recognition of the one law which governs it all. Okay? We cannot believe that God or the intelligent life principle would or could violate one of its laws because of any person's petition. We cannot believe that prayer or faith changes the natural order of the universe, but we do know that the act of prayer does produce definite results. Hence, we are compelled to admit, by the very evidence of spiritual healings, that something else is involved in the process. Here is one of the apparent riddles of the universe and of our own existence. Are we living in a spiritual universe? Are we living in a mental universe? Are we living in a material universe? Okay. Are we? I mean, I might argue that we're living in all three, but let's see what Ernest has to say. The extreme idealist will say that we are living in a spiritual world, in a universe of pure ideas. All is mind. There is nothing else. The extreme realist will say that we are living in a mental universe, a material universe, in which mind plays no important part, and in which spirit, viewed as infinite intelligence, plays no part. Between these two positions, there appears to be a gulf which cannot be bridged. We are living in a universe, if we are living in a universe of spirit or mind alone, then the material universe is an illusion. If we are living in a material universe alone, then the mind or spirit are fantastic concoctions of our imagination. Okay? But how can mind be a fantastic concoction of our imagination since we are using it in this moment? How can the material universe be an illusion unless mind itself is an illusion and unless all is an illusion? And how can spirit or universal intelligence be a myth unless we, it, the material universe, and all of our mental reactions are but dreams? And to complete the argument, how can there be a dream without a dreamer? How can there be a dream without a dreamer? This gulf is easily bridged if we conclude that the spiritual, mental, and physical world do not contradict each other, are not divided against each other, but are one in essence. They have one source and function according to one great body of laws. In other words, they all exist. Which is where, like, I was like, this is why I belong to Science of Mind, because I would argue that they all exist. So, let us create this new synthesis in our imagination and see what we have. If we consider that in essence, the universe is one pure spirit, infinite intelligence, conscious purpose, which also acts as and is the source of the inviolate law by means of which it becomes universally manifest through its energy, becoming what it creates, then we find that there is room for all things. We do have a spiritual universe. We do have a mental universe of conscious thought, as well as a physical universe of tangible things. In essence, they are all the same. They are but different aspects of that which we call God or infinite spirit. Okay. Oh, not that spirit. The spirit is the all-inclusive source. Thought becomes the directive factor when manifestation being the result. But in and through all, there is law which functions at every level. Spirit is universal, mind is universal, and so is substance, which is pure energy becoming tangible through law in the form provided for it by thought or idea. And whether we think of law as being spiritual, mental, or physical, it makes no difference, providing that we realize that the three work together in perfect unity, being but different functionings of the great law of God. Spiritual law, mental law, and physical law are all universal and omnipresent. They all work as a unit. However, the higher form always transcends or governs the lower, but never by contradicting or violating it. With this concept, we can see how it is that the spirit can govern the mind and that the right mental attitude cannot help affecting the body. Working from such a basis, we can readily see how we can, by observation, experiment, and proof, develop a definite technique for the practice of a true science of mind. And that is the next section, Science of Mind, Something to Live By, which we will take up tomorrow. I wonder how long or short that one is. Oh, short. Short. And then we'll go into part 2. Yeah, I kind of figured that when he starts this argument, I was like, because now, don't quote me on this because I'm not that familiar with A Course in Miracles, but that was kind of one of, that's what from what I understand, A Course in Miracles says everything's an illusion. And Mary Baker Eddy seemed to kind of lean into that same thing, that the material world is an illusion. And Ernest is like, you know what? It's not practical enough. Like, I can touch, like, it exists. Now, the reminder is that form, it's energy, just slowed down. And so that's part of the reason why form doesn't last. Because you cannot keep energy still for long periods of time. Watch toddlers. They go, they drop, they go. Same with kittens. They go, they drop, they go. Energy cannot stay still. So that's one of the reasons why things constantly moving into and out of form, leave it. Don't take it out. My timer went off, but they're in the fridge, so not in the oven. So that's good. So that's the thing, it's like, there is a level where nothing changes. And then there's a level that is affecting change. And then there is a level where the change happens. Energy cannot be kept still for very long. So stuff is constantly moving into form and out of form, because we're just slowed down energy. Anything that we can touch is just slowed down energy. And eventually it's going to speed back up. And that's just, that's just the truth. If you really want to have your mind blown, look into quantum physics, because quantum physics that's where the material science kind of goes, well, stuff happens and we're not sure why. And again, it goes back to that pie chart. There's this little sliver of what we know. There's a little sliver of what we know we don't know. And then there's the rest of the pie chart of the stuff that we don't know that we don't know. And when I remember that, it just makes life easier for me. I don't know. And I'm okay with saying that. The wonderful thing is there is something that does know. And if I need an answer, I know that I can go to that. And it will find a way to get me whatever answer I need. And sometimes it provides the answer directly, but most of the time not. Most of the time what it does is, well, you don't know this, but this person over here does. Let me introduce you. And that's the way it works. I look forward to that greater expansion, and I love learning new things. And I'm always fascinated when I'm confronted with something I don't know. And then occasionally I will look at it and go, I want to learn this. And occasionally I will look at it and go, wow, I'm glad somebody knows how to do this, because this is not something I want to learn. And then occasionally I'm just like, oh, well, I hope somebody's working on this. But in the end, knowing that there's something that does know and that I have direct access to that, it means that I'm going to be okay. And I hope that you find that as well. Now, I have scones in the refrigerator that need to go in the oven, and I need to deal with this. So I'm going to wrap this up and encourage you to have a great day, a wondrous day, a fantastic day, a magical day, an enchanted day, a wonderful day, an awesome day, an amazing day. Throw those windows open and enjoy the cooler weather. It is in the 60s here, which is thrilling beyond belief. for us. And the high might not even get into the 80s today. Yay. So go outside and enjoy the cooler weather day, if you can, where you are. Throw your windows open and enjoy the breeze day. Drink plenty of water day. Take care of yourself day. Go be with your community day, because it is Sunday. Today anyway. Do something just for yourself day. Try something new day. Experiment day. Try something out. Test one of these laws for yourself day. And see which laws transcend the others day. Give science a pat on the back for helping us out day. Understand that science isn't always right day, but is always working to correct itself day. I'm just making up silly stuff day. A good day. And if that is too much pressure, because I understand occasionally it is, simply have a day. You are enough just as you are. You are a beloved expression of the divine. Oh, did I tell you have a good day? And if that is too much pressure, simply have a day. If I didn't, because I understand some days are just too much. So simply have a day. But explore the truth of your being. Okay? Oh, no, you know what? I'm just all discombobulated. I want to remind you that you are a beloved expression of the divine. You are spirit in motion, God in action, a brilliant light, a divine spark, a beautiful masterpiece, a work in progress at the same time, at your own pace. And as Reverend Jesse likes to call us, you are a godling. All right, now I'm going to remind you to explore the truth of your being, get to know who the divine knows you to be, because the divine knows you to be good. And from there, anything is possible. All right, I have scones to bake. So, Reverend David should be on around 5 p.m. with you. I should be back with you around 9-ish tomorrow. But we will have an amazing service for you right here on Facebook Live. So you can either scroll up a video if it's 11 o'clock or join us in person. We will also have a Samhain celebration, which we will be making available on Zoom. So if you're interested in that, go to the Zoom watch party. I'm going to log into that. We'll invite you to the Samhain celebration. Okay. Take care of yourself, which is what the scones are for. Take care of yourself. Know that you are loved, and I will see you next time.